Let me be perfectly clear.
Hello Brawlers and welcome. A while ago, we asked you what decks you'd like to see on the channel, and today's video will be featuring one of those decks. Specifically, today's video will be featuring a strategy built around Clear Bakugan. Thank you to our community for the suggestion. If you have any ideas for other deck profiles you'd like to see on the channel, we'll leave a link to the community post below. And now, without further ado, let's get into it. As mentioned before, this deck is focused on Clear Bakugan. Clear Bakugan are a type of special treatment Bakugan, which take on their opponent's attribute at the beginning of battle. This sort of makes these Bakugan difficult to use, as it means you'll never know what attribute your Bakugan will be until the battle starts, and you'll be gaining the same gate attribute bonuses as your opponent as well.
You might know everything I'm going to do, but that's not going to help you, since I know everything you're going to do! Strange, isn't it?
With that in mind, we've decided to focus this strategy on high G-Power Bakugan, as well as cards which benefit any kind of Bakugan rather than specific attributes. We also wanted to focus this deck on cards which can be used multiple times during brawls. Most of the battles against your opponent will be somewhat equalized, since you'll always have the same attribute, so we need to make sure that we have more ammunition to effectively outlast them and win that way. There are lots of other ways to build a deck consisting of just Clear Bakugan, but we figured this would be the most consistent way to play, and fairly simple as well. By the way, this deck will be using Bakugan and cards from Battle Brawlers and New Vestroya, and no support pieces. You can definitely build a deck using Bakugan and cards from later series, but beware that many support pieces will only work with Bakugan of certain attributes, such as traps. If you're curious which ones do and don't work for a deck like this, check out our video on support pieces. Now, if you've seen our Bakugan collection videos, you know that we don't have any Clear Bakugan. At least, not yet. Our recommendations for Clear Bakugan, though, are just to use the strongest ones you can. If possible, you may also want to use the Clear Abyss Omega, as its green ability card can be quite helpful, and there are several different printings of it, meaning it can work within several different G-Power ranges. Don't worry though, Abyss Omega and its ability card aren't required to make this deck work. Other Bakugan you might consider for high G-Power decks are Bakugan like Thunder Wilda and Cosmic Ingram. Technically, all of these Bakugan are Baku Crystal. These are an alternate variant of Clear Bakugan, which, rather than being made entirely of clear plastic, have majority clear plastic with some parts of them having other colors. These Bakugan have the same function in battle, so use whichever Bakugan you like better. We're recommending these Baku Crystal Bakugan as they tend to be quite strong, and from our searches are somewhat easy to get a hold of.
Hey, you wanna buy some crystal?
First, our Gold Gate card. We have lots of options here, but we'll be going with an old classic, Glamour Gate. Glamour Gate says that each player's Bakugan gets plus 30 G-Power for each special treatment Bakugan they have in the game. Since all three of our Bakugan are clear, any of your Bakugan which battle on this gate card will gain an additional 90 Gs. Remember that, as a Clear Bakugan, you will battle using the same attribute as your opponent. Thanks to this effect, your bonus will climb above your opponent's, even if they have one or two special treatment Bakugan. This, in combination with strong Bakugan of our own, should keep us ahead. Just be careful of opponents who are also making use of 3 special treatment Bakugan. Against them, you should focus on your other gate cards, or play more aggressively depending on their strategy. As for other options, you can consider things like Flash Hurricane, which helps our game plan of recurring resources and can add in an element of battlefield control, or Proper Motivation if you'd prefer a comeback card. There's also Cleansing Fire and similar Gold Gate cards, which all have an effect to boost the G-Power bonus for the Bakugan with the matching Silver Gate card in their used pile. Obviously, if you do play these cards, play the matching Silver Gate card with it. Just be careful, as these bonuses could be made to serve your opponent if they win on the Silver Gate card instead. Speaking of Silver Gate cards, you'll want to use balanced ones if you can. This gives us a fallback option for a basic battle where our Bakugan and our opponent's Bakugan are on equal footing. Cards like Elevated Field and High Energy work well for this, but I'll recommend Low Energy as perhaps the best of the bunch. The bonuses being so low will discourage your opponent from using cards like Shadow Vortex or others that remove G-Power bonuses from gate cards. It's a small win, but that kind of consistency helps a lot in a deck like this. We also have several options for Copper Gate cards, but since we've decided to focus on recursive ability card usage, we'll of course be going with Lock and Load. For those who don't know, this absolute classic says that players who battle on this card move all of their used ability cards back to their unused pile at the end of the battle. This can be useful in the mid to late game if we want to recharge, or it can be a surprise move early on, which lets us blow as many ability cards as we can up front and get them right back to use again throughout the rest of the match. This won't be the only way for us to recycle ability cards, and if we're using gate cards like Flash Hurricane, then that's even more recursion. As for that other way to recycle ability cards, let's talk about our red ability card. Pretty simple here, we're going with Dan's Throw. This card is played before we roll, and says that if this roll results in a battle, then we can take an ability card from our used pile and add it back to our unused pile. If you're worried about your aim or don't have Dan's Throw, you could also consider using Masquerade's Throw. Rather than giving you an ability back, this card is played before rolling and makes your opponent discard one of their unused ability cards to the used pile. If you can wait until your opponent plays an ability card, you can use this to stay ahead, or make them discard an important combo piece. This card is a little harder to use than Dan's Throw and means we might be a little more vulnerable during certain parts of the game, but it's still very good. You could even consider playing Sting as your Copper Gate card instead of Lock and Load if you'd prefer to focus on draining your opponent's resources, but that's up to you. Now, what ability cards will we be recycling? First, our green ability card. The reason we play Abyss Omega specifically is because of its awesome ability card, which shares its name. This card must be played during a battle where you have Abyss Omega, and will erase all G-Power bonuses both Bakugan have received during the battle. Then, Abyss Omega gains 50 Gs. This honestly feels like an ability card out of the anime. Use this at the end of a battle where your opponent has a massive G-Power boost, and watch it all crumble away. Assuming your Abyss Omega Bakugan has a relatively high base G-Power, you should be able to simplify the game state and steal a win from the clutches of defeat using this card. If you don't have Abyss Omega or its matching ability card, consider green ability cards such as Attractor. This card is played after your opponent's Bakugan is rolled and stands, and lets you move their Bakugan to the other gate card. Helpful for when you need a specific battle on a specific card to occur, and just generally helpful to mess with your opponent. Finally, our blue ability card should be something that works for all attributes of Bakugan. This is harder than it sounds, as many blue ability cards are specialized for a small number of attributes, but we'll recommend cards like Dragonoid Charge or Julie's Charge. These ability cards give sizable boosts to all attributes, ranging from plus 80 to plus 120 Gs. The main restriction on these cards is that they can only be played during battles where our opponent has more gate cards in their used pile than we do. Basically, it means we can only play these abilities when we're losing. That's a bit of a steep restriction, but if we play our gate cards right, we can minimize the chances of needing this ability at a time when we can't use it. Overall, this is a deck that requires a lot of forethought and planning. Being able to time your gate cards and ability cards is critical to success with this deck, as managing battles is quite precarious for Bakugan that must always match their opponent's attributes. Still though, if you're up for such a challenge, then playing this strategy can be quite rewarding, and also the perfect psychological warfare for your opponent. And who doesn't love a good psyop? Anyway, that does it for Blank Slate. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep on brawling.